Welcome in the latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter. And that right there is the biggest damn Cracker Barrel fan there ever was. Cousin Shane, the big Tennessee homer who goes by Big Orange Vols on the Twitter machine. How you doing, brother?
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Hey, don't forget, Shane, right now, I mean, obviously, we all know it's college football season. That's why the folks are here, Shane.
Yeah.
But it's a time, if you got the time, if you got the funds, head on over to mybookie.ag today. Sign up for a free account using that promo code, that SEC, THATSEC. That's your promo code over at mybookie.ag, the online sportsbook, Shane, the go-to source. Been there for 10 years. Been with us about half that long already. You know what, Shane?
That's right. I think they were our first sponsor that ever was MyBookie, and it's kind of crazy watching them grow. And now you've got an opportunity to grow that checking account. You know, just fade Cousin Shane.
Right, so you could almost blame MyBookie for anything that has been said over this show the last couple of years. You know what?
That's right. Absolutely. They built this studio, you know?
And don't forget, hey, we got the members. I'm seeing all the cousins in the comments. Appreciate, I mean, hell, Shane, we're over 50 on the memberships already.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just insane. I figured we'd get 2 or 3. Oh, we just got Sugar Shane became a member. How about that, Shane?
Come on, cuz.
Just as I was saying that. Welcome to the family, Sugar Shane. And if you haven't already, join up. It's just $4.99 a month. No, it's not something you have to do. Just to help us out, and we're going to involve people in it. We're going to give free shirts away. We've already given away 2 out. We're going to do one every month. We're going to give one out to one of the cousins there. We're going to involve you on our MyBookie picks this season. We're going to involve you on our prize picks, daily fantasy picks. Anybody that joins the membership, you're going to get shout outs on the show. So we just really, I mean, it's just the support has been overwhelming.
No, it really has, and I just love watching it grow, and it's awesome. Just again, all the support. If it weren't for y'all, we definitely wouldn't be here having fun talking college football, Mike. And I appreciate all the efforts. And it's not just the $4.99. It's the spreading of the word, man. And if it's one telling another. It's funny how people stumble across our shows. Like I'll see sometimes on Reddit where somebody mentioned our show. You know, it wasn't even they weren't actively looking for it. Then all of a sudden they're hooked to Cousin Shane and SEC Mike. So I appreciate everything you guys have done, and we're just getting started, baby. I don't know what we're gonna do. We're still trying to figure out some cool stuff we could do with this thing. So don't be surprised if next week we ain't got some sort of I don't want to give it away. You know what? College football's 8 days away. Just stay tuned. We're gonna have some nice stuff for the family.
And also, Shane, if they got any ideas, throw them our way.
Yeah.
And we're more than whatever you guys want to do, we'll do with it. You know what I mean?
Like a swimming party or something, you thinking?
Cousin Aaron says, holy shit, Shay's old time today. So
it's all this caffeine I've had from this delicious Coke I've been drinking.
Yeah. Oh, baby, here we go. We got a $20 one. We appreciate
thanks,
you.
cuz.
From Ovaltine Jenkins. First time I heard of the show was Cousin Mike coming to Norman. And now it's my go-to show every day, mostly because of my fat man kingship with Cousin Shane. We appreciate you, Ovaltine, there.
Absolutely, man. Us big guys got to stick together, you know?
Right. And I was going to hold off on this one, Shane, but I might as well start right off the top here. Thanks to Ovaltine and his donation. He's obviously a Sooner fan. Oklahoma just beat out,
oh, buddy,
Shane, Texas for a 5-star offensive lineman from Texas, even better for them. Michael Fuzazi, I'm sure I butchered that. Number 12 overall prospect in the country. This is an elite player.
Yeah.
Number 3 offensive tackle position of need. You can just never have enough linemen in the SEC. So that was a huge one for the Sooners today.
Absolutely. Big get, and who you steal it from. You know what I'm saying? This is, again, SEC's not been used to this rivalry, and it's already continuing to stay fired up.
Yeah. How about this one from Chicken? He says Shane's going to own a Cracker Barrel here before long.
Hey, it's pretty cool when you start knowing them by names, you know. So they got my favorite seat almost. I'm not quite there yet, but you know what? Cracker Barrel may be ignoring me, but I ain't ignoring them. That's what I said there on the Twitters. I absolutely love the place. They're not a sponsor, but you know, I'm thinking about eating there every day until someone from corporate reaches out and says, Hey, guy, you know, have a table on us. That's all I'm looking for.
Right. Well, as your little caption there, if people can see it, Shane's had 4 delicious Cokes today.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like Brian Kelly. Does not sound a lot like Lane Kiffin. Here's Brian Kelly trolling the Ole Miss head coach here.
Just a shout out to our sponsor, Coke. Smart water, great Coke product, minerals, vitamins. It's just great for you. It's refreshing, healthy, and Coke provides you all the products that you need depending on what you like. And I love Smart Water. You caught on.
Drink to that, man.
So LSU's, they just got a recommitment from Coke while Ole Miss lost their commitment for probably this week from Coca-Cola. You know what?
I wonder if they ever said anything. Have you heard anything from Lane since that? I know it's crazy. You don't bash sponsorship. You know what I'm saying? Especially Coca-Cola.
Right.
I would imagine they're sending a pretty nice check over.
Yeah, I mean, that remains to be seen, but Kiffin makes enough money. I'm sure he can make up whatever loss they got there.
Oh, yeah, man. I love Coke. I don't like – here's my thing. I'm a Diet Coke. You would think natural Coke, Shane, that would be Shane with all the sugars, but the Diet Coke's just as good. It's probably my favorite, you know. Now, my wife, she likes in mini cans, little tiny ones, you know, and then my daughter, she likes to open up one of those, take 2 sips, and just leave it out the whole time. So we've got to hide stuff at our house.
Right.
So hiding food and drinks. You never thought that happened over at Cousin Shane's house, but trust me, it does.
Hey, Shane, you also know it's college football season when the Little Rock Touchdown Club begins their speaker series, and they've started that up with Coach Sam Pittman. If you don't know, this is the one that has like John Gruden. This is the place that had Bobby Petrino a couple years ago, and it's kind of greased the wheels for obviously Bobby Petrino. We got some comments from Bobby Petrino upcoming, but Sam Pittman went there this week, Touchdown Club there in Little Rock. It's like a 40-minute video. I highly recommend anybody that loves Arkansas or just loves Sam Pittman to go check it out. But I got a little snippet here, Shane. It was too good not to play. Here's Sam Pittman, his opening at the Touchdown Club there in Little Rock.
I want to talk to you about my day a little bit. We got up, we had a staff meeting, and I got on the plane, and I started. Do you guys ever scroll through pictures if you don't have Wi-Fi and you scroll through? Well, I had one of last year of me. And if you don't mind, and no disrespect, but I had this same damn tie on. And I am not going to go through another season like that. So it's going to start with taking this damn tie off. All right? Number two. I get on that fancy bus they meet us with, and my damn belt exploded. I didn't forget it, Frank. It just exploded. So, luckily, Baz has put on about 50. And he came to my rescue. So thank you for gaining weight, my friend. You did a great job.
So, Shane, I got to ask, if his belt was going to explode there at Media Days, would you have given him yours?
Yeah, buddy, he'd have plenty of room. We'd have to drill a couple of holes. He'd be fine, just fine, Mike. And as a big guy, you always have a couple. You know what I'm saying? You always have a backup. Whenever I go on a road show or something like that, or down in Dallas, I had the belt that I like, and then I had the belt if it didn't work. It's going to give up at some point. I don't know. It's like Russian roulette. I've had some that's lasted for years and then some that's lasted for weeks, but you always get 2, Mike.
Yep. Hey, shout out Ricardo. He just gave us a little donation there. We appreciate
thanks,
you, cuz. But yeah, I just thought that was too good not to share. And like I said, I got some stuff from Bobby Petrino coming up here. But hey, big news here, Shane. Oh, let's hope I uploaded it correctly. I think I forgot this one too. But the SEC announced the tiebreakers. So I like to think we were partly responsible for that, Shade, giving them some hell. Why they didn't have the SEC tiebreakers already announced, but they did announce it here on Wednesday. It says it's too big. Shit.
Am I holding it or something?
I'll get it here in just a second here, buddy. But basically, this is something that had to be done.
Yeah.
We talked about it. You cannot go into the season without this having been announced, because it just was going to lead to people thinking, some shenanigans were up. And I realize that's probably not the case, but people were going to make that assumption anyway.
Well, that's exactly right, man. And I'm glad. I don't know if they were even planning on making this public, but it is something that we started hearing more of. It's something I didn't even know that wasn't settled, to be honest with you, Mike, until you brought it up. So the fact of the matter is, when you don't have divisions, you're going to have some of this being played out toward the tail end of the season. Who gets in, who gets out. And I'm glad it's not like a committee thing. At least they've got some rules in place here.
Right. So I finally got it up on the screen. Apologies for that. But here is the tiebreaker, Shane. It's obviously head-to-head competition.
I don't see it.
What's that?
It's not showing on the screen.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's showing up on my screen here. But anyway, I'm just reading the thing here. Head-to-head competition.
Okay.
So that's number one. Obvious. So let's say, the example I used the other day. Let's say Georgia and Texas are 10-2, and they have the same conference record. Then obviously, whoever won that game, they get the edge. That makes sense, right?
Right.
Number two, record versus all common conference opponents. So if they've played the same teams, we'll break it down by that to see how they got there. Number three, record against the highest placed common opponents. So maybe, whoever's fourth, fifth, whatever, we're going to go down that way. Cumulative conference winning percentage of all the conference opponents. And then one other, capped relative total scoring margin. So you definitely want to score a lot in the SEC. And then finally, this is where people are like outraged. It's never going to get to this, Shane, but this is where they're outraged. Random draw is option 6. So if it gets down to 6 options here, Shane, it's going to be random draw here.
Yeah, it sounds like you're going to have to go through quite a bit to get to random draw. But I love that. I see the asterisk by many of them saying unbiased random draw. So we'll see how that plays out. And I would absolutely love the first year. Here we just said it. Hey, it's never going to happen. The odds of that happen slim to none, and then watch it be the first season we have a random draw, and Nick Saban's pulling out of the bowl, And
I want this to be clear. They're saying if it does come down to random draw, they're going to do it via video conference with a commissioner and the ADs of the school, and then if there's more than 2, then it's going to be the commissioner himself that is drawing the name. If there's more than 3. My God, this would be. Imagine if there's like 4 that are in this damn random draw, Shane. Here's what it says: a random draw by the commissioner will draw 2 names. The first name drawn is placed in the conference championship and will be the home team. The second, so basically they'll have 4 names in a hat. The commissioner, whoever he pulls out, you're the first seed. Whoever he pulls out second, you're the second seed, and 3 and 4, you're just screwed.
Unacceptable, Mike. I do not accept these terms, Mr. Sankey. I think the only real answer here, Mike, is you get Tim Tebow up there, because he's the only guy I trust in this business, and I let him do it with just give him a pack of crayons and a sheet of paper and let him rip it up, put it in a bowl, and then let him draw to see who gets in. That's the only answer, only acceptable answer here.
You don't think he'd pull Florida though, or pull something and say it's Florida?
Have you Tim Tebow? Good grief, no. He's the most honest man in this business. So no, I would trust him. He can watch my kids.
Right.
He can't date my daughter, but he can definitely watch my kids.
All right. How about this one, Shay? This one went kind of viral, and I wanted to start with I like starting with the best clips that we can find here. But Eli Drinkwitz called out. Called out's probably the wrong word. He challenged his fans. I'm going to play this clip, and then I'll share my thoughts on the other side. I'm curious to know what you have to say about this.
I definitely get a sense that the community and the state as a whole is very excited about Mizzou football, and that's been awesome, whether it's been this summer around the state or dropping my kids off at school today and somebody, saying, a sixth grader saying he's really excited about the football season. I mean, that stuff just wasn't the same, or it hasn't been like that going into it. So that's been awesome to, really stir the passion and excitement of our fan base. But our challenge is we need to sell out this first game. All right, we're a top 11 program in the country coming off a Cotton Bowl win, and in my opinion, if we don't sell out the first game, then that shows me that we're not where we want to be as a fan base yet. Okay, I mean that's just the reality of it. Don't sit on the sideline and wait. Well, it's got to be this game. No, it doesn't. Come watch this team and be excited about this team and embrace this team. And the same challenge that I have for our players is let's have a 1-0 mindset. Let's try to be a 1-0 team and be a 1-0 fan base. Don't get excited about the game in November after the bye week. Like, I don't know what that game's going to look like. I know this week or next week versus Murray State's the most important game we have. And we need to sell it out because we need to show the rest of the country that we're serious about our program. I saw a tweet the other day. I'm not even going to say it. Never mind. So let's establish ourselves. Let's eliminate all the noise about what the past history of the fan base has been, and let's establish what our identity moving forward is going to be. And the establishment of the identity moving forward is it doesn't matter if it's a Thursday night, a Monday night, or Saturday night. If we're playing a Faroe Field, we're selling it out.
Hey, before I get my thoughts, Shane, I totally forgot that last part. He was going to mention a tweet. What are the odds that was one of yours?
I don't know. Maybe me beating the Big Mo drum, it's coming up. I mean, how many times have we talked about November 9th? But I think he's right. I mean, as an outsider, watching Mizzou grow and get to this point right here, and every Mizzou fan that hangs out with us, we got a lot of Mizzou cousins. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And they're on cloud freaking 9. But the fact that your coach is coming out here and trying to hype you up for the first game of the season on a potential championship run, that kind of does stick in the craw a little bit. And I don't know how many seats we're talking here, Mike, but last time he challenged the fans, you remember that was when he was getting on people booing Brady. You remember that?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they put the fans back in their spot. I feel like these guys, the ones that are here with us on that SEC podcast, they're dialed in. But I do think that there's a few, naysayers out there that are waiting for maybe the big games or the fun games to go to. But they all fun, man. How do you not want to go watch your season opener and just kick some ass? You know what I'm saying?
Right. And the point I wanted to make, Shane, I've seen a lot of comments that are like, well, this is old Mizzou and their fans are garbage and, this is the one-year wonder. I've seen Nick Saban do the same damn thing to Alabama fans. Yeah. We have seen Lane Kiffin do it repeatedly to Ole Miss fans. Mm-hmm. I've seen, I think it was Dan Mullen at Florida. I mean, this is nothing new. This happens all the time. And it's because, it's many reasons, but it's easier to stay home. Especially for a Thursday game, especially against a team you're favored by 50 points to beat on a weeknight game. But that being said, I got no problem with what he's saying here because it's the same thing you're saying here, where this is going to be nationally televised. Yeah. And I don't care if this is a terrible team. I don't care if you're favored by 200 points. This could be the best season in school history. Yeah. This is going to be nationally televised. This is going to be a recruiting pitch that they can sell. Hey, look, we got the complete stadium sold out for Murray State. That's Missouri. And it's not Missouri from 5 years ago where all these people think that, how many times have we heard, they'll probably go 7-5. Yeah. This season. People are saying that. It's not Missouri fans, but it's fans that think that was just a one-year wonder. They think Cody Schrader was, I guess, he was outstanding, but let's not make it out to be it was Cody Schrader and nobody else. I mean, this was a complete football team that beat damn near everybody they played last year and fell short against a Heisman Trophy winner who's tearing it up in the NFL, has already been named a starting quarterback, and they pushed Georgia unlike anybody pushed Georgia until Alabama eventually beat Georgia. But, I don't know. I got no problem with this, and he's in the right to again, challenge. I don't think he's calling people out. I think he's challenging them to not say, let's just look at the Oklahoma game, look at the Auburn game, this game, that game. Let's make every game a sellout here because we're trying to do something special here, but the fans got to do their part.
Yeah, you want to build the stadium, you want to add to it, But now, to be fair, Mike, the trolling was pretty funny. When he came out, I think my favorite one was like, how hard is it to sell 17,000 seats, They're going to come after you. And again, this is maybe a moot point by the time season kicks around. I mean, you're not just opening up Mizzou's schedule here. You're opening up the SEC. This is the first time we've watched college football in, it feels like, 300 days, So all eyes are going to be on this team. So come out here, represent, because there may be some folks watching this game that won't watch the others because we'll be in mid-season. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
A lot of people are going to navigate to this game because it's Thursday, but because it's just you and Arkansas playing that day.
And so last year, obviously, the big, huge season, but it was the narrative was something to prove. Mm-hmm. They're still carrying that with them. Here's the last clip I got from Eli.
Well, the STP mindset, really began for us last year just because we knew we were collectively talented, but we hadn't proven that through results on the field. And at the end of the day, this is a results-based business. And so, we needed to prove that, in our own minds, we felt like we were talented and felt like we were good coaches, but at the end of the day, you're measured by wins and losses, and so we had to prove it. And it kind of stuck. I mean, it's the chip on his shoulder type of mindset, and so it's kind of stuck. And this year there's still a whole lot left to prove. I don't know if it'll be there every year, but right now it still fits who we are.
So the fact that, I think this goes along with what he's saying, Shane, that they have got, I know they just won a bunch of games, but they've got something to prove to all these doubters, all these people that think it's a one-year wonder, and now maybe even something to their own fans a little bit.
Well, it's like the opposite Bama effect, Everybody wants to put Alabama in the top 5 or college football playoff or win an SEC championship. I don't even know if you got the clip, the old ball coach, I just feel like this is where they're at. And on the flip side of that coin is a team like Mizzou that hasn't been there, that hasn't been staying at the top, but has an opportunity to use last year as a launch pad into this season. You start stacking a couple of years together, then all of a sudden you become a powerhouse. Then all of a sudden you become a blue chip program. So that's what they're working toward. And but it could easily be taken away if you don't hit the ground running.
Right. How about this comment from cousin Matt here? He says, if Mizzou would make their stadium look more like a trailer park, they'd get more fans in the stands. That's cold-blooded. That's Matt's words, not mine. And then we had Stank Cat here. Boomer, random draw, any tie, and make it interesting. I mean, that would be interesting, but people are going to be outraged if they lose this damn SEC random draw. You know what?
Yeah, or maybe just skip an SEC, or what I'm saying, miss the championship game and go to the playoffs. So,
all right. How about hey, this one happened since last we had a podcast here, Shane. It's official. Our national nightmare is over. LaNorris Sellers is your starting quarterback down here in Columbia.
Never saw that coming.
Shane, sorry to ask you the same one 2 times in a row, but any decision on QB1?
I met with those guys this morning and informed LaNorris that he would start next Saturday night or next Saturday afternoon against Old Dominion. Met with them this morning. Like I said, both of them were great. I meant what I said to you guys on Saturday, David, after the scrimmage, that I really feel like we have multiple quarterbacks that we can win with. And Robbie really did some good things on Saturday, and he's going to help us win football games this season. Davis Bevel did some good things. Dante Reno came in there and did some nice things on Saturday as well. So we have a lot more depth in that room than what we had last year. But As I told LaNorris and Robbie both when I talked to them this morning, we're continuing to, like every position, the guy that gives us the best chance to be successful is going to be the guy that's out there week in, week out. And that's not to say that we're going to be rotating quarterbacks every 2 plays or anything like that. We're not doing that. But, they've got to continue. LaNorris has got to continue to progress like he has been, and Robbie's got to continue to progress like he has been, and that's only going to make us better.
What was it about LaNorris and how he's taken strides since the action he got last year that has really shown out to you that he's ready for this step?
I think just the consistency, and both those guys have been good. When I was over in Florence earlier this spring and said that LaNorris was our starting quarterback coming out of the spring, I said that and did that because he had a good spring and he was a little bit farther along because of familiarity with the offense. And then Robbie had a heck of a summer. LaNorris had a heck of a summer, and they've both been really, really good. It was just, LaNorris has been consistent, and just speaking about LaNorris specifically, I think he continues to get better each week. His poise, his consistency, his understanding of what we're trying to do. It was he's done what we've asked him to do coming out of spring practice.
All right, Shane, so are you fired up for the start of the LaNorris Sellers era officially?
Hell yeah, man. Hell, I would have, if I was Beamer, I would have been talking about this 2 months ago, because now we're here at the tail end and we're sneaking into the season and we're like, oh, by the way, Sellers is starting.
Yeah.
Now the hype train, you missed it. You missed a perfect opportunity. And of course, that all changes if you come out and kill ODU and then maybe Kentucky or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think that this was a terrible look for the Gamecocks because, and again, I'm glad they came out. He officially said it, but now I'm looking at it like him and Green. I'm looking for one of these. That's probably like the most intriguing because there's like tiers to this thing. You got Nico and Jackson over there. You've got Nussmeier. You got and maybe Brock right there. He's had this job for a little bit. There's a lot of new quarterbacks, new looks coming into the SEC. But now it's like, oh, by the way, Sellers is going to get the start here. But man, I'm going to be tuned in. This is probably one of the most intriguing quarterbacks to me because you talk about just freak athlete. That's what he is, and it's going to look night and day different than it did last season. So the saving grace I feel for Shane Beamer is Sellers succeeding.
Yeah. It's wild to me because I thought this would have been done so long ago, but not that it's a bad thing. I mean, hell, you just push guys and you push them and you push them. You don't have to name them early. But, if it's just totally ridiculous, though, like if Tennessee hadn't named Nico, if Oklahoma didn't name Jackson Arnold, you know what I mean? Like that, that would have been foolish, I think. But I don't know. It's interesting. But it also, so I got one other clip here from Beamer.
Do you think like this is, do you think maybe this was for Sellers to maybe put in that extra effort? Because Robbie, I mean, he didn't come up here to back up. He came up here to start and compete for that starting job. But part of me is like, let's say a waitress job comes open at Cracker Barrel, right? And there's 2 of us. We're hosting, and we're like, man, I'd really love to have that job. And the guy knows he's going to hire Mike, that without a doubt. But, he keeps pointing at Shane saying, hey, I'm going to give this guy a shot, But now you start showing up to work earlier. You start working on your drinking, pouring at the house and things like that, just getting ready. You're working a little bit harder just because there's still that chance you may not get that job. So maybe I'm overreacting to this. Maybe this was more about making sure both these guys push as hard as they can.
Right. And it's coaches often say, Shane, that they don't even have to do this. Mm-hmm. The team does it for them.
Yeah.
And maybe they had to, not that there was any question or anything, but maybe LaNorris had to win over the team in camp. And I'm not saying he lost them or anything like that, but just, you know what I mean? Like it's different if it's the off season. It's the guy that's there. Yeah, he's the heir apparent, but go out there, put in the work and prove it. And we'll see who the team responds to. Maybe that was part of it as well. And because they are literally now into game week.
Yeah.
So you got to name them at some point. And this tells me the team's got confidence in Sellers as well.
For sure.
But all the nice things we say, that Shane Beamer was asked, what questions remain before this opener against Old Dominion? I'm curious to know what you think of this comment here.
Coach, we're just 11 days to kick off as you start to cement your depth chart. I'm curious, what are the biggest things you want this team to improve on to be ready for kickoff next week against Old Dominion?
I mean, there's a lot. First games stink because there's just the unknown. I mean, you've been practicing, you can prepare for everything, but I'm always nervous before every game, but first games are just different because it's your first time doing it for real, and you can prepare for everything, but you can't. And there's always something that comes up, and we can put them through a simulated scrimmage. It's like a simulated game, but until there's 80,000 people over there and the lights are on, it's just different. So there's a lot that you have to get done. But as far as just specifically football-wise, really, I would say just the quarterbacks continuing to develop a rapport with the receivers and tight ends and guys that they're going to be throwing to as well. You know, I've said it all along, the key for us offensively is going to be how we got a lot of new faces and how quickly those guys can come together and connect. So that's still a work in progress, and the quicker, you know, we've got to continue to do that and develop that even more. You know, defensively feel pretty good. We're still trying to figure out exactly what our depth is going to be in the secondary as well. You know, that the safety position, that's a battle behind Nick and DQ. Let's see how that thing shakes out. The corner opposite O'Donnell right now as well. And then really just trying to get the whole team as ready to play as possible next Saturday afternoon.
I'm hearing a lot of issues, or not issues, but a lot of uncertainties there.
Yeah, I think this is your game, though. You know, like, tamper expectations. We're not coming in here with a championship team, but we are coming in with a young team that will improve. So I feel like that's more of what this is about here, Mike. So I'm not panicking, but we've talked about South Carolina's schedule ad nauseum, and I feel like, you know, we should have this cleared up pretty quick.
Does the fact that they have 4 of the first 5 at home, though, does that give you any confidence that a young team, regardless of who those first 5 are, that we could gain some serious momentum? And I get it. There's no moral victory, so I'm not sitting here saying like, well, we showed up against LSU and Ole Miss. You know what I mean? But like, what if you push LSU and Ole Miss to the wire? Even with this young team, I don't know. I feel like that will give you some confidence in this second half that you can play with damn near anybody.
Yeah, you're looking for some brief moments in those first 3 games. You know what I'm saying? I don't think ODU is going to be a problem. I feel like you could run out the third-string quarterback out there and beat the shit out of that team. But Kentucky, you know, that one's going to be a tough game, tough environment. It's not going to be rainbows and butterflies, man. They got to hit the ground running here. But then with that LSU, I'm not looking for them to win. I'm not expecting them to win. But I do want to see progression. Now we're week 3 into this thing. You know, is this a South Carolina team that's going to fold up midseason? Maybe if things don't go right, that's what worries me about Shane Beamer's job. Now, if we've got a scrappy team, a scrappy ball club here, then they're going to fight tooth and nail with whoever is on that football field.
Right. Hey, shout out Cousin John.
Hey, thanks,
just
Judd.
Became a member of the family. Welcome, brother.
I almost died there, John. You about saw the last show.
Well, someone that is not having these worries, Shane, is, of course, old Kirby Smart, who seems like he's been downplaying all the hype and the expectations. Here's Kirby on what he learned about his team during training camp.
Yeah, that we've got good mental toughness. We're in a good spot in terms of physicality. They've grinded. We're not where we need to be by any means, but we have made progress. I mean, scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2 progress was good. I saw things that I needed to see in terms of tackling, playing better without the coaches on the field, all the things you look for in young players to see them grow. You know, there's a small body of guys that have played a lot of football here that I know can go out there and execute. Then there's a larger body of new players that have to prove that. And I thought we had more guys execute with other coaches on the field Saturday and push through the heat, which is mentally tough, that you have to be able to get through that to grow and get better. And I'm pleased with where we are coming out of camp.
Do you think he's downplaying, just how confident he is in his football team based on those comments and the rest we've kind of heard from him during camp?
Kind of worries me, man. I mean, he's saying all these nice words. I'm used to Kirby coming out and saying, we're not where we need to be. We're not playing with the physicality we need, blah, blah, blah. But the fact he's seeing progression and these, that worries. That should worry the SEC a little bit, Mike.
Right. And Kirby, he's a mastermind with all this stuff.
Yeah.
Playing tough competition right out the gate. I think that is something that he will forever do if he can. And, of course, they got Clemson. I'm not saying Clemson should beat them or anything, but just the fact that it's Clemson and it's not like Sanford or something like that. That they always show up for these games, and they always kind of whoop some ass here. Kirby was asked about Clemson. And remember, that was the beginning of their national championship run. Clemson was actually favored in that game. It was an ugly, ugly game. I think it was like 7-3, something stupid like that. But that was the start. That was the start of back-to-back national championships. Now Clemson's back on the schedule, back on as the opener. Here's Kirby on Clemson.
You say about the Georgia-Clemson rivalry, and I'm sure you guys are constantly running into each other on the recruiting trail. You don't play every year, but I'm assuming there's a competition every year with Clemson.
Yeah, I mean, we don't see them on the road recruiting as much as it seems like we used to. I don't know if it's died down some. I mean, there's a lot of overlap. They recruit our state hard. We recruit their state hard. A lot of respect for their players, their teams, their coaches, for what Dabo's built there. I had a good relationship with Brent when he was there, and he's in our league now. They've been one of the premier teams in college football in terms of the last 10 years, you could say. I mean, it's probably longer than that, but they've done a tremendous job. So we do see them on the road, some recruiting, but I think the matchup is more about our fans. Just getting that caliber of a matchup to start the season is important. But, we got issues on our hands today we're trying to deal with over the game.
Does that make, if I was a Clemson fan, that would make me scared to hear stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Clemson? Yeah, sure. They're recruiting our guys, but we ain't worried about them.
Yeah, so much so, Shane, I don't want to give it away, and I'm not right now, but I'm feeling pretty confident Georgia may be my lock of the week when we get there. So, again, head on over to mybookie.ag today. Put in that promo code THATSEC over at MyBookie today. Sign up for a free account. They got all kinds of sign-up bonuses now for college football season. And, again, Shane, I'm feeling very, very confident about some of these SEC openers. I don't know about you.
I'm loving it, man. And let me ask you this, Mike, because there's not a lot of SEC homers. There's a lot of, I love my team and that's it. And maybe I hope all the other teams lose kind of thing.
Right.
But is there any other, if you were not a Georgia fan, don't you kind of still pull for them in week one because it is Clemson and everybody likes when Clemson loses?
No doubt. But now, see, that's what's going to be unique about this year, Shane, where most teams, I would say yes. But now I'm thinking like South Carolina, because you don't play Georgia, you probably want Clemson to win, and that's blasphemous. I get it, but it's a lot about. I'm thinking about the committee though, Shane.
Yeah,
if South, I mean, it may be unrealistic, but let's say South Carolina's last week of the season is sitting there at 9-2, and they're playing Clemson. And they need a big win to get into the college football playoff. You want Clemson to be better. Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense, but
that's probably a horrible example.
Not
it's South Carolina, Clemson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could tell. I guarantee you right now, you throw a poll out there, and just South Carolina fans can answer it. You may have 1 out of 100 that says they want Georgia to win this game. They hate both of them. They wish it ended in a tie. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Can I ask you something? I don't watch any Clemson games really, but I saw a video, and you know how they run down the hill. We always see Dabo running because it's funny looking. but did they shoot a cannon? And I saw this guy pushing like a dolly, and it had this little baby cannon on there. Is that a thing, or did I just maybe caught some different video?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the little cannon going off or something?
Not that I'm aware of. Not at Clemson.
It may be the saddest looking cannon I have ever seen in my entire life. I mean, it's bad. But if anybody, maybe the cousins know out there, maybe they've seen this little stupid thing. It's like borderline trash can at Tennessee. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I promise you, next time we have Steven on the show, I'll ask him about if they got this
please do.
Clemson loser cannon over here.
Oh, you should see it, man. Like never mind.
Well, all right. How about this one, Shane? If LSU is gonna make a big turnaround, it goes without saying. It's going to be about this defense and Blake Baker. Brian Kelly seems pretty fired up about it.
Brian, you made a wholesale change with 5 new defensive coaches, a total different philosophy with aggressive versus last year. Can you talk about how you see the defense right now and what you expect to do with them to do better on defense this year?
Well, I think if you ask me what my philosophy is defensively, it's to keep the points down first and foremost, right? I mean, I think, when you talk about the elements of defense, it starts with, the players having an energy and an enthusiasm for the coaches in which they're playing for. There's got to be a sense of excitement, energy, and I thought at times we lacked that, and we're seeing that on a consistent basis. That's the price of just playing defense, right? That's what you have to see just to play, the kind of defense that will help you win games. Now from there, schematically, I think what I've always felt from an offensive perspective, that if you don't know where guys are lined up every down, that's a good place to start. The ability to pressure on the perimeter, the ability to mix coverages so the quarterback doesn't know what he's getting every play, that is also an important piece of playing really good defense. But the core of this is getting off the field. And we had a hard time getting off the field last year. And I think Blake has done a really good job with the defenses that he's coached, in particular at Missouri, of having ways to get off the field, in particular on third down. So I think we start with the core of having a defense that's excited about playing for their coach. I think we have a defense that can play 3 down, 4 down, can mix things up in the back end of the defense, and then get really creative in third down situations. And at the end of the day, keep the points down.
And I know you've seen it, Shane, because I sent it to you, but I don't know if the listeners have seen it. There's been clips of Blake Baker at practice just being a wild man out there, having a good time. But I thought the key thing Brian Kelly said there is we've got a coach now that the players are excited to play for, and they certainly didn't have that last year.
Yeah, no, they didn't, and I felt like they were getting the blame the entire time, And so when the coaches are getting blamed, just like your job, they're going to come at the employees, or they're going to come after the players here, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, shit, I'm doing the best I can here, So I do feel like a new look was very, very needed down there in LSU, and it seems like it's been accepted pretty well. And I too have seen some of these videos. I saw the interception one. I mean, he's dialed in a little crazy. Red Bull and Lord knows what else on. But I tell you, he's pumped up, and players feel that. And that's one of the things we're going to see with LSU this year is a lot of that. Like he said in the last conference, those exotic looks, exotic blitzes and stuff like that. When you do things like that, it's just fun. The players have a lot more fun if there's an opportunity that they get to sack quarterback,
Right, but I would also say, Shane, that you do stuff like that because you're not confident that you can be elite with, like, base is probably the wrong word, but it's almost like you got to scheme that stuff up.
Yeah.
Now they got the guy to do it. and they've got some players to do it. But again, I'm not trying to shit on LSU, but I'm just saying I think it'll be hit or miss, if that makes sense.
It will be. It absolutely will be. But again, it's going to be fun, and I feel like it's not going to just mirror what we saw last season. And you're right. They you don't want to talk about rebuilds down there, but one of the things he hit on last week was the offensive line. I found my 2 young tackles, and then I built the core. So I feel like that's what we're going to do with the LSU defense. Find out what we really want, and then we're going to build around that.
Right, and then the last thing from Kelly, he had some comments here, Shane, on Harold Perkins, who's been wildly hyped, didn't live up to the hype. They were playing him out of position last year. But I just thought this was fascinating because he said for the first time in Harold Perkins' career, he's doing something different here. Let's kick it back over to Brian Kelly one more time.
Hey, Coach, from your point of view, how has Perkins adjusted to moving back inside?
We're having a hard time blocking him. And we've got a pretty good offensive line. I think the best thing that I could say about a player, regardless of the position in which they play, is that he has elevated the players around him. I couldn't say that about Harold his first 2 years. He did not elevate the players around him. His play was elevated, right? At times it was outstanding. He is now entering into that category of elevating the players around him. That's a pretty good thing for Tiger fans.
I think that's the best compliment Brian Kelly could give a guy like Harold Perkins.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what we want to hear too, because we feel like we saw doses of him last year. The year before, it's like he was coming out party, and then all of a sudden, you and I both talked about him possibly being the best defensive player in the league last year, and it just disappeared. So I hope that is going to be showcased this season.
Right. And then how about an update here from old Billy Napier, Shane Montrell Johnson, star running back?
He's back.
Sounds like he's back.
I think we saw Jaden Baugh. He had a touchdown run in the highlights, but how did they look without Montrell? And then what's Montrell's current timeline in terms of his recovery and his rehab?
Yeah, so Montrell's doing fantastic, right? He's been able to do a few things. We expect him to be able to participate in practice, whether that's modified and at some point full speed. But we'll give you an update. Obviously, we're getting ready to turn the page into game week, but we'll give you updates per the timeline up until the game. But we have confidence that Montrell is doing great and feel good about his return. I do think that the 4 other kids have had fantastic training camps, and it is extremely competitive. Like, I can tell you who's running out there next right now. Now, I know Trayon Webb has game experience, and I trust him. He's by far the best protector. He's tough. He's durable. He's smart. But also, I'm standing back there behind it, and I'm watching Jaden Ball and Jacoby and KD in these 2 scrimmages. And we feel good about that room. They're young, they're inexperienced. It's important for those players to understand that they have to play without the ball. And when it's third down, and you're checking your way out, and that corner comes from off the outside receiver to the boundary, you've got to have good eye discipline. And those are some of the lessons that we've learned the last couple of weeks. So those guys will be ready to go when it comes time.
All right, Shane, if Montrell Johnson is able to give it a go in the opener against Miami, does that change outlook at all for that game for you? And again, I don't know if he'll be 100%. I hope he is. But does that change anything for you heading into this crucial season opener?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he is a pivotal piece of this offense. I saw Liquid Flames there posted. I anticipated him having a breakout season myself, and he had a hell of a season last year. But I'm not convinced. I know they're not going to give us the details or anything like that, but just for what I'm hearing, I'm not convinced that we see him week 1. And it's not like, it's a lower body injury. You don't roll those guys out at 70%, at 80%. You put them out at 100% because you need them for more than one game. And if you come in limping to one of those things, then all of a sudden you may lose them for the entire season. So I'm a little bit leery of just getting overly excited that Johnson's going to be back.
Right. How about this bet, Shane? Novatorious. If Tennessee loses to Florida this year, Shane has got to cut the Cracker Barrel for a week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I told you. If Tennessee loses to Florida, I'm doing a marathon. And I can't be eating Cracker Barrel. Well, they got lean chicken. I could do that. They got good, healthy stuff there.
Hey, shout out Marshall. He just became a member to the channel.
Thanks, cuz.
Welcome, cuz. And also, we got Ovaltine. He's a member now, too. I love that name. But appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, cuz.
But, yeah, I mean, Shane, I'm just getting so fired up for this Florida game.
Nobody wants a Johnson at 70%. You know what I'm saying? They want a hundo.
Yeah, I ain't touching that one. But one more from old Billy, Shane. We've got the defense. Again, this is similar to LSU. Defense was a damn train wreck.
Yeah.
How's this coming along? They hired a defensive coordinator for their defensive coordinator. Never heard of anything like this in my life. But he at least sounds optimistic here.
I am. I see flashes of what I would expect. I think we have high expectations for how we want to play defense around here. As a head coach, I would tell you when we've won games, we've been good on defense. I think if you look at year 2, 3, and 4 at Louisiana, we were 25th, 18th, 11th in the country in defense. And we want to play complementary ball. We understand. Look at championship football teams, Power 5 football, Power 4 football now. Got to be good on defense. So we've got high expectations for how we want to play. And I do think that we've made a bunch of progress. Now the games are here and won't be long. We'll get a chance to go out there and prove it. But our ability to do that consistently is the key. And I think Coach Robertson, Coach Armstrong, Coach Harris, Coach Chapman, Coach Peterson, that entire group would tell you the same thing. Now it's about the attention to detail, it's about the urgency, and it's about being able to do your job consistently. Can you have the self-discipline to show up and prepare the right way when the game plan changes and the opponent changes? So 1 week at a time, I think your ability to take the information, to study the opponent, and then get yourself ready to prepare when it matters. And to do that week in and week out. So, but yes, I do think we have more experience, we have more competitive depth, and I think the coaches have done a good job.
Hey, excellent point here by RG1. I didn't catch it the first time, but he's still talking about Louisiana. Is that a red flag in your mind, Shane?
Yeah, absolutely. And when he references all the coordinators on the defense, it sounds like a law firm over there, Who exactly do we blame on third down?
Oh, boy, I ain't touching that one. But again, I know you're down on Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't, yeah. Sorry.
Even though that's your dynasty team. But if, halfway decent, I don't even know, they were just awful. If they have an average SEC defense, do they make a bowl game?
If they have an average defense.
Like maybe like the 50th ranked defense in the country as opposed to like 100th.
Well, that's assuming the offense is just going to exceed expectations, Mike. So, no, I don't think average gets you anywhere with this one. They're going to have to be above average, not just because of the schedule, but there's a whole bunch of factors here with this football team. So I'm average is something that you become. I think they need to hit the ground at least at average and then excel to maybe above to make a bowl game.
Well, I know Free Durden loves hearing that, so he just became a member. I appreciate you, brother. He's a Georgia fan.
You,
welcome.
Cuz.
And also, Tev here just became a member. Man.
Hey, thanks, cuz.
You guys are too good to us. Welcome, brother. But one last team here, Shane, to hit on. Them Razorbacks. Again, we did the same Pittman, but Bobby Petrino. I just thought this was great, Shane. But let's play the funny one first. Apparently, Shane, he has given up watching kickers. Let's kick it over to Bobby Petrino.
Coach, I know you obviously the goal is to score a touchdown every time, but it sounds like Shipley's had a pretty good ball kicking the ball. How much confidence does it give you as a play caller when you've got a kicker that's maybe dependable like that?
I don't watch the kicker. I quit watching kickers after last year's experience. I don't watch him at all. Not in practice, not nothing. I don't watch. I ask him, did he make it? And they say yes or no, and that's all I know about kicking the ball. I've been around some great kickers. Now we had the Lou Groza kicker winner at Louisville one year, and little Art Carmody. And we had a heck of a kicker here when I was here. But last year's experience made me quit watch and don't watch practice. And then hopefully they'll make it in the game. But I know this, when it's a 2-minute drive, we're going to go try to score a touchdown.
So you have a little bit of superstition in you?
No, none at all.
He just hates kickers.
Yeah. Well, I just thought that was great. But
Me, I'm the lonesome kicker. You remember that song?
Of course. Yeah. No, I remember you introduced that to me.
Oh, Bobby's he must be hazing these kids. That's what I'm thinking is happening. Behind the scenes, giving them a little pushing them down the locker room. So yeah.
And then one other one from Bobby Petrino. This is not something that I really thought about, but we're getting fired up because of the helmet communications. People like Bobby Petrino should excel with this. He'll be in Taylor Green's ear. But what happens when there's issues? What happens if it goes out, which he predicts it will? There's a lot that goes into this. Let's kick it over to Bobby Petrino one more time.
She mentioned the in-helmet communication a little bit earlier. For you, what have been the biggest benefits in implementing the new system?
I think I'm still learning about it right now because, the first couple of weeks, it really wasn't a lot of fun. It was a headache, doing all that and it shut this off, that shut that off. And we're not the only ones that are having those type of problems because you have to be hooked up to two different things, one for the quarterback and then one for the staff. So there's some work to get done, and we need to be ready for probably not if it goes out in a game, but when it goes out. We need to be ready for it and be able to handle it when that happens.
Yeah, kind of on that note, just what has been the biggest challenge in adjusting to that process and all the different issues?
I mean, there's a couple of them. One is, understanding the timing of when it clicks off. That's probably the biggest challenge, and really knowing that and how much you can give the quarterback or how much you can help the quarterback. And I don't feel like we've had that much experience on that because just the two scrimmages in the stadium is when it really clicks off. In practice, I just do it myself. And then, the ability to focus and concentrate when the quarterback can't hear you. Can't get it, and being able to stay calm, which I'm really good at. I'm really good at that.
Sugar Shane says he looks guilty of what I don't know, but guilty.
He's got that's why he gets so much trouble, just because you got that face like you did something wrong, and then they just know that you're probably to blame. So I am kind of curious about that because that's one of the things I keep hearing some of these older coaches talk about is like when it goes out, if it goes out, if someone cheats with it, that sort of thing. So I'm kind of intrigued by it. I do think that it's going to help to kind of, like I said, be in the quarterback's ear, maybe understanding, especially Arkansas situation, a new guy, new system, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's very, very beneficial to have, but there's going to be some mishaps for sure.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask you, Shane. Predict the school, the home field, essentially.
Yeah.
That is most likely for the communication to go out during a football game.
Most likely to go out. I mean, the obvious answer is Alabama, right? Is it? They get blamed for everything else. They had the rest for that. Now they'll have the audio problems.
No, see, I was thinking Ole Miss with their fake injuries and you know what I mean.
I can see that.
They're pretty clever with what they're doing over there. If you know what I mean. I'm not saying they're always cheating, but they find loopholes. If that makes sense.
Who was the one? Was it Mississippi State that the Pirate talked about? The locker rooms were so bad and everything like that. So maybe State get somebody too.
State just from the lack.
We're just trying to figure this thing out. Just play dumb. Vanderbilt. They could talk about the construction. We forgot to turn that part on.
Yeah, here's the real answer. Travis found it. It's Michigan. It's definitely
Cheating
Michigan
bastards.
that is going to be the one cheating here. But I just know it's going to happen. I'm just trying to figure out who in the SEC is who's going to pull something like that out.
We'll find out soon, Mike.
Yep. All right, brother. Well, hey, you got anything else before we hop off the line?
Hey, we're 1 week away, man. Today's day 8, so if you're listening tomorrow in the morning, you're 1 day closer to some college football action. So this time next week, we're going to have some foosball on TV, brother, and I can't wait for it to be here.
Right. Just a week left to buy those Murray State tickets. So
You
get
better
your
sell
ass
it
out
out.
there.
Do you
Sell
not
it
love
out.
your team? Huh?
But no, I can't wait. We got one more show we're going to do tomorrow, Cousin Shane and I. But until then, really appreciate each and every one of you for coming and hanging out. Appreciate you, buddy, showing up on time. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right. See you guys. Go Vols.